Hello, Raising Vibrations community. This is Simon, and welcome to the Jupiter in Capricorn video. And as you suspected, this is going to be a video talking about the nature of Jupiter's entrance into Capricorn, and just as me just sharing my thoughts and feelings about what we could do to enhance this experience for us, and what it maybe potentially means for us individually, and just sharing my thoughts on what to make sense of as we venture into 2020. So just a couple of things I want to mention just before I jump into this video. Myself and Jen did a video today as well, which you can go check out on our channel. And this also talks about the transits of 2020, just giving you some guidance, some thoughts, and again, some opinions about what we consider 2020 to be about. And so that video is actually linked in the description as well for you to go and watch. Okay, so Jupiter in Capricorn, right? This is a really big deal for us, I think. I feel that as we, as a collective race, have gone through this deeper cycle of Uranus squaring Pluto, Capricorn, Pluto and Capricorn since 2008. The last time Jupiter was in Capricorn, from what I can remember correctly, was 2007. So Uranus is square in Aries to Pluto in Capricorn, and Jupiter's transit around the wheel while that square has been taking place, has brought us a tremendous amount of radical shifts and changes internally for us, right? The explosion of the internet in terms of social media and the effects, and Instagram, and selling things on Facebook, and Facebook being something that's the explosion of groups. So there's a huge expansion that took place, and changes that have taken place since 2012 and 2011 even. So Jupiter's been moving around the bottom half of the zodiac, right, through Aries, through Gemini, through Taurus, through Leo, etc. And now it's reached Capricorn, and we're at a very critical point in the development of this Jupiter cycle of 12 years as it begins in Aries and sort of completes itself in Pisces. And I think it's also really interesting that the Jupiter in Capricorn transit will occur when Pluto's in Capricorn, of course, but at the same time that Saturn will be in Capricorn, right? Saturn's transit through Capricorn, and the South Node. So South Node's been in Capricorn for a while. It will move into Sagittarius while Jupiter is in Capricorn. So there's a lot of activity in this Capricorn theme. And another layer that you can add to that, for those of you that are into evolutionary astrology, you'll know that the South Node of Jupiter also exists there in Capricorn as well. And so for any of you that want to know what the South Node means, or the nodes of a planet, it's the same as the moon having its nodal axis. Every planet has its nodal axis as well. So every planet has a north node and a south node, and that's how the collective evolves. All right, so we all have the south and north node of Jupiter in Cancer Capricorn. Right? This has a lot to do with the way that we as a human race have identified our philosophical truths through things like the home, through family, through career, through life direction. These are the huge collective themes that you can go to the majority of cultures around the world, and you'll notice that the theme of family and home, and the man going out into the world and doing his gender role, and the woman staying at home, and then the other way around where women became more empowered, and all of this type of theme is very much connected to the planetary nodes of Jupiter. And I don't want to get into that right now in terms of an analytical process, but I'm going to speak to this archetypal theme and how it resonates within our collective awareness, and also how that represents itself in our individual lives. So, Jupiter transiting through Capricorn, as I've said, the emphasis that I wanted to bring across was there's a tremendous amount of attention in Capricorn. And one of the things that's been very apparent and very clear to me is that we as a collective at the moment are going through tremendous shifts, shifts in all sectors of life. Any sector that you are associated with. If you're somebody that's into the health and wellness sector, you'll notice that there has been shifts on the social spheres about what is the correct thing and what's outdated and so on and so forth. If you're into like accountancy and finance, you'll notice that, that's been a really big topic for a lot of us. Wherever, if you're in the book publishing industry, if you're in the media industry, everything has changed over the last 3 or 5 years, pretty much in a very radical way, very fast, accelerated way. And Jupiter's entrance into Capricorn, to me, speaks to the solidification and also as well as the amplification of how these models and structures and forms that we all interact with as human beings, how this all correlates to us finding ourselves in new waters, in uncharted waters, this sense of, where am I in this process? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? I don't belong to that anymore. I don't resonate with that anymore. And we're kind of really being just dispersed and migrated all over the place, right? And we're trying to find ourselves, and yet at the same time, we're also consistently interfacing with things that are developing at faster than what we can emotionally digest. And so we tend to have a lot of anxiety about the future and a lot of experiences that really speak to the current emotional climate that we're kind of going through at the moment. And so that's why I really want to talk about this picture that I've opened up with today in terms of Jupiter and Capricorn. And you're going to see throughout this video, I'm going to bring in the imagery of a bridge, okay, invoking the bridge, because it speaks a lot to me. At the end of 2020, that again, myself and Jen covered in a brilliant video that is available on our YouTube as well, for 2020, we're leading to this iconic great conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, right? And there's a doorway that is at the end of this year. And to me, Jupiter in Capricorn represents the process of what it's going to be like to walk from the one place that you're at right now in your life to that door, okay, to that place that is mystifying to you, that is calling for your curiosity, that is invoking that sense of what lies beyond what I'm currently standing on at the moment. And that's what it feels like to me in a very deep way. It feels to this process of coming into a journey that we're going to walk along this path. And again, the reason why I'm choosing the bridge in this picture is because it speaks to the process of Capricorn. The truest essence of Capricorn is about boundary. It's about definition. It's about, where do we feel safe? And we're all on this unique road to this door, and we're walking there, and we're being pulled and attracted by the potential of what exists outside of it, and we're curious. And it's closed, so we don't know what's on the other side. And as we approach this place within us, we're going to have to embrace the road that has been less traveled. We're going to embrace a place where maybe the structures weren't there. And what does it feel like to take a leap of faith, Jupiter, into the unknown? What will it look like to you as you go through 2020 and you witness the process of Jupiter consistently pushing the button and saying to you, where are your belief systems preventing you from fully seeing your truth? And what's that bridge going to be like? What's that road going to be like? And we're all coming to this place, and it speaks volumes to me. So I'm going to come to the chart over here, and hello, just decided to speak up over there. So what you're looking at is actually the charts of yesterday, and that would be the 4th of December 2019, and that Jupiter, I believe, entered Capricorn in the 3rd. But this chart over here represents it exactly, and there you can see right at the top over here, you can see this whole entire connection. Venus is there as well, South Node is there, Jupiter's there, Saturn's there, Pluto's there, and they're all kind of hanging out. And Saturn has formed a connection to Pluto already once this year in April. And what that meant to us at a social level was that we're all reforming, the old paradigms and structures and the things that we hold in place that keep us safe, that hold the circle for us to feel that we can belong to, that we can identify with. That Pluto-Saturn conjunction was just really bringing to the surface the expression of needing to climb out of things, to break out of the mold, to change the pattern. So there is another Saturn-Pluto conjunction that's going to take place. And of course, this is going to occur while Jupiter is in Capricorn. And again, Jupiter's transit through Capricorn for us, considering that for most of us, like a large percentage of us, that South Node, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Pluto is all going to land in a specific house for you, right? So what speaks to me and what is, what myself and Jen have already felt into is that you've got to see this period of time as an incredibly, I want to say magical. It is, because there is a great convergence to really like push you into a corner and to say, do you want to do this continuously? Is this what you consider your life to be? Is this the process? Is this the definition? Is this the role that you feel is the road you wish to take? And why I want to say it's an incredibly impactful time is because, karmically speaking, every single one of us has a soul mission to accomplish. And when I say that, I don't mean it in the sense of like to save the planet. I don't mean it like that. I mean more along the lines of, what is it here that you've come to let go of finally in your soul's karmic history? What is the thing that needs to end now in this next year that wants to be let go of? Okay? And this is a really important. So individually in our charts, we've got this huge conjunction. And that's an important thing to consider when looking at your own personal chart, And how does that play out for you? What's this going to be in Jupiter in your 10th house? Mine's going to all land in my 12th house. All of this is landing in my 12th house. And I can see the themes really real for me at the moment. I can see how this 12th house process of all these planets there are speaking to an overarching theme that is relevant and real for my soul's journey. And I'm embracing, just like I think everybody should during this period of time. This next year is about embracing the part of you that no longer serves you. Embracing the part that says, this is what stops me from knowing myself, from being true to myself, from being honest with myself. I've heard a lot on the internet at the moment around Jupiter representing what we're going to make concrete. And yeah, okay, fair enough, that's true. I think that Jupiter transit through Capricorn will represent a process of solidification. Jupiter going through Sagittarius spoke to the part of us of what's natural, what is our inner truth. So as it naturally moves through Capricorn, it means putting into focus, into concrete, stable, strong, structured sense what that truth is about. So this is coming into your sense. And I suppose in that way, I can see the truth in that there is an element of coming into your truth, being very solid and strong with that, holding that presence within inside of yourself, feeling the place that is real for you. But also at the same time, as I said with the picture over here, is that this is going to be a period of time, as we looked at the I Ching, it speaks to where you're going to be mirrored. You're going to be mirrored by your own emotional complexes, your own emotional limitations. And you're going to manifest something inside of you in your life, and you're going to be frustrated with that process. It's not going to unfold in the way. And you've got to ask yourself this question. You've got to really go deep into yourself to feel into where it is that you have limiting belief systems that prevent you from stepping outside of your comfort zone. Where is it that the horizon of your existence sits there and you ponder it and you want it, etc., but you just don't take that leap of faith. You don't, change the pattern inside of yourself. And this is it's a very profound time for us to really get into the body and into where the resistance is. Where are the things that we're feeling inside of ourselves, that there are defense mechanisms potentially that protect us from a trauma, or defenses that protects us from being vulnerable. Capricorn is also, in my view, the archetype of vulnerability, in connection with, of course, the opposite side of Cancer, right? Which is, it's not a coincidence that the North Node is sitting in Cancer. So this steps into vulnerability for us. And what does it mean to feel completely vulnerable? In a way where you can be very truthful and honest about some of the things that you feel in that moment without a sense of criticism or judgment. And I think that that's a really authentic place to be with this transit. It's going to pull us out into the place of saying, is this really my truth? Is this really the thing that is honest for me? So I've got a couple of things that I wanted to share with you all over here, and I hope that the slide changes. Yes, it does. So there we go. It's going to come now, hopefully. There we go. And it might change again because I've just moved it. Okay. So this picture speaks to me a lot around Jupiter through Capricorn. And this is what I want to extract from it, okay? We are this, what I want to show here is that this imagery of ourselves, what does it mean to come into your sovereignty? What does it mean to come into your kingship? Or if you're a woman, what does it mean to come into your queendom? What is that sense of your space and how you own that space, and what is your sovereignty? And I really want to encourage people to understand that this is a year of really getting deep into your sense of truth and your kingdom. What does it mean to understand the landscape of your own sense of authority, your own sense of sovereignty? What differentiates you? What allows you to be present with yourself and to be really authentic with yourself? And what also this speaks to is where the shadow parts of experiences that have been overwhelming to us, that we have felt the government, the government, this is a classic thing that keeps us in a victim state. It's so easy to hold outside structures accountable for our disempowerment, because it means that if we can project our unresolved issues around our father, or unresolved issues around authority, it means that when we project that into the outside world, into governmental structures and authorities, and we disconnect or disown our truth, and we place it in something else, and we then feed back that loop of victimization. This is also where I feel that Jupiter through Capricorn is going to ask us to really be honest with ourselves and say, hey, it sucked that at some point during a phase of important transition, the father figure wasn't there. And I don't know how to lead with intent. I don't know how to take charge with myself, or I do take charge with myself, but it's very assertive and oppressive. And maybe I need to work on sensitivity as a leadership quality. These are the types of themes that I feel are so essential, that this imagery really invokes in me as I kind of speak to you heart to heart in terms of Jupiter's entrance through Capricorn, and what that could, because we're all of us with Jupiter's South Node in Capricorn, we've all in some way, shape or form carry with us ancestral karma, but also carry with us embedded truths about things that have been indoctrinated, that have been ideals and perspectives that have not been our own, but we've agreed to them because that was what we needed to do at the time. We no longer need to agree to things. We no longer need to acknowledge that what is true for one person is true for ourselves. And maybe we've assimilated certain ideological truths that we've defined as reality for us that no longer work for us anymore. I think Jupiter's really going to bring to the surface where we have disowned our kingship, but also where we love to take our disowned kingship and keep it there so that we don't feel our own vulnerability. Very important thing to consider during this transit. And so let's have a look again over there. So I told you that I would be talking about bridges. And again, this imagery speaks a lot to me, because what I want to instill with us is that, you know, Capricorn and Jupiter, Capricorn is about where we have built things in the past that have been connections. Think about what a bridge represents to a community, to somebody that's trying to cross a river, to a kind of civilization. Think about what bridges represent in relationships. You know, this is about connection. This is about wanting to come to the other side. This is about a curiosity to step from what is your known space into the other space so that you can see it from a different perspective. So why I choose this picture here in the process is that this is also a time during Pluto's transit through Capricorn and Saturn's transit over Pluto and Jupiter's transit over Pluto, is that we're going to start to see that, and we have, and this is what I meant right at the beginning of the video, that we have had a social landscape. We have had an entire way of being in which we have built bridges amongst us and together that have represented a paradigm of thinking. But this is a time to realize that we're also letting go of those bridges. We're seeing that their function or their use is no longer present in that space anymore. And so the spirit of moving across is not relevant. And so what was once used in our collective consciousness, the thing that once meant meaning. So a fax machine, for instance, at some point was a connection between two businesses when they try to fax over important documentation. It's no longer present in our reality anymore. And so as something that manifested into reality becomes concrete and acts as an archetype of human interaction, so as it descends back into the feminine or into chaos, so it is overgrown. And that's what this picture I want to bring with this picture, is that we are slowly but surely realizing that the bridges and the ways of connection and the ways that we have established curiosity and seeing things and the way that we as a human race have developed our civilization, those paradigms don't work anymore. They're outdated. And so as they fade away, right, we don't look at them as in disgust, because and it's really interesting, because the very thing I'm about to say to you right now, I want to apply to it. I notice a lot of anger come up in me where I feel and see people are struggling to make amends with the past, to make amends with patriarchy, to make amends with things that have happened in the past. And for whatever reason, it can be real for you. But, you know, at the end of the day, the complexity of nature and life itself is so much more than our ego. And yeah, we need to let go. We need to let go of the old way. We need to let go of the old things that we were once held on to. And so what I meant by the anger is that there seems to be some unresolved anger in us that always pulls us back into the past, and we're blaming things. And Capricorn is all about looking at where we are right now and saying, okay, what brought us here? This worked up until this point in time. You know, for instance, at some point way back in the 1900s, they didn't have mobile telephones. So connection and building bridges and stuff like that, and the way that we connect and communicate with each other wasn't established. So what was real and relevant at the time might be so outdated for us right now, but we can't look back at that space and say, you know what, how stupid were we? Or how dumb was that? Or, you know, when we look back at that and we see it in such a negative light, we don't see that at the same time, that was where we were. At some point, human beings thought that, and doctors thought that it was a really good idea to put leeches on people because they thought that blood caused disease. And now we're like, oh, that's not the case. And so therefore we're like, at the time that was real, but now when we look back at that a Capricorn theme, we're like, that didn't seem to really make sense to us. And we're kind of consistently evolving. But to look back at that with a sense of like, to me just feels like there's a lot of clearing of anger and misunderstanding and not really appreciating things as they were. And again, I'm not asking anybody that has been affected by patriarchy, including me, to look back at it and say, oh, you know, that was fun to be abused. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we need to move forward. And this is a time of moving forward. This is a time of allowing the bridge of connection and road to die out and to be absorbed back into the ocean, so that we can then go over to the next phase. And this is the next picture that I want to bring to everybody. And this is a bridge that I want everybody to cross. And we're going to cross over this bridge, and the purpose of crossing over this bridge is to be initiated into the next phase. This next phase that we're about to enter in terms of our human evolution, this is an incredibly profound phase. And what I felt really important about this was that what this picture speaks to me is this next phase as Jupiter and Capricorn is to come into the wisdom of the ancestors, to come into the wisdom of nature, and to let that be the director of your life, to come into contact with the realms of the unconscious, to come into contact with archetypal themes, as I'm sharing right here, and to step into a part of ourselves that is deeply, deeply mysterious and deeply wondrous, and to cross the bridge and to see that this is a period of time of initiation. We're being initiated into another phase of life on Earth. And it's scary because all of the dragons, all of the trolls, all of the things that can be dangerous are rising to the surface. And if, like with Skywalker, for instance, when he enters the Dogon cave and he takes with him his lightsaber, even though Yoda said to him, what you confront is what you take with you. And that's what I'm at right now. It's like, as we enter this cave, what you take with you is what you're going to confront. So if you're going to enter this next year with incredible sort of like hatred or something, you're going to see it. And this is the mirror effect. And this is going to arise because what's Jupiter and Capricorn really wanting to tell us? It's saying that we're being initiated into a new phase, and everything that was once what we held is now time to rinse that process and come over the bridge. And that's what the bridge represents as well. On one side, this is where we are, but once we go over it onto the other side, it's a place of newness. So when you get married, for instance, it's a bond. And before you got married, you have your party, whatever, the last night is in sense, but once you have that connection, you cross the bridge. You no longer go back to that. And so this is what I'm saying to us right now, that Jupiter through Capricorn and all of the planets over there, for us individually in our charts, it speaks to a journey that we're on. And we're all being initiated into a new direction. And at the end of that road is a place that seeks our attention, that seeks our individuation, seeks our knowingness. And we want to be liberated from the inner shadows and the shackles and the darkness. So Jupiter's going to expose this to us. And this is the time when everybody's going to have this exposed to you, right, in a very big way. And so hopefully this video, allows you to feel that you can take something from this and kind of take the next step into the unknown and go into the cave and let everything go that you think that you need, and just embrace this next phase as a deep exploration into who you are. Fall into this next change. And maybe that's what my 12th house is teaching me in that sense, is to fall into life. And to let go, to take off the armor, and to really be fully authentic with yourself, be fully vulnerable with yourself and with others. We can build bridges between each other as well, new bridges of deep emotional and human connection, ones that are not isolated, but actually bonded in that sense. Okay, so I'm going to kind of keep this picture up over here. Well, maybe I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back to my the imagery here, coming back to the door, and just going to come back to that and just say, as we come to this really important precipice, and we're about to journey into the unknown, we're about to journey into our psyche, we're about to journey into our emotional dynamics, what we're going to do here is come to the end of a road. And we're going to open the road, and as we open the door and we enter into that door, we're going to change our lives. We're going to radically alter the nature of our reality. And this is individually for us, for our karmically, and then of course as a collective as well. Okay, that feels good. So I hope really everybody got some value out of this. I'd love to hear your comments. Share with me what you felt on this video. Share with me if you really understood what I was talking about. I really appreciate what you have to say. I want to do 2 quick announcements quickly. Because of this whole entire process of Jupiter entering Capricorn, I want to say that we have on our website, there's a process called Learn Your Chart. It's an hour-long session that you have with me, and it also includes a PDF of 24 videos that are specifically designed for your natal chart. So myself and Jen really want to extend a sense of gratitude towards yourself for journeying on your own process, and we would like to offer a discount to anybody that is interested in purchasing a Learn Your Chart process with us, a Learn Your Chart experience, to understand what your Capricorn is, to be guided through that. What does that mean for you individually? And lastly, for those of you that don't know, but I'm also doing a Metamorphosis 2020. And what I mean by this specifically is that for the year of 2020, I've got a few spaces left where I want to work with somebody one-on-one for an entire year on your whole entire natal chart to basically guide you to that door. So if you feel called to experience a one-on-one monthly session with me, we have 2 sessions. We work on your natal chart. We go deeply into every single archetype that there is for an entire year, and you feel like that commitment, I have a few more spaces left in the Metamorphosis process for 2020. And if you'd like to know more about that, check out the website. I'll provide you with the link in the comments below, as well as the description. You can go read more about that, plus the video that I created, just to kind of share that, and then just get in contact with us, okay? All right, everybody, have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.